Georgia Southern, they're looking to play spoiler here.
These two teams played last year. The only time they've ever met, West Virginia won that game 5-0. Hoping to continue that here today. And we're off here in Statesboro, Georgia. As the ball is kicked off, West Virginia has possession of it. Ball in the back line for West Virginia. Cameron, as this game is starting, what are you looking to see from both teams?
What I want to see from the Mountaineers is just continuing to be aggressive. Yes, you may be trying to pass it back and forth right now, but as the game goes along, you want to continue to put as much pressure on the Georgia Southern defense as much as possible. For Georgia Southern, they really want to do the same thing. Throughout the season, it has been very troubling for them to get in position to score goals, to even have a chance to even put one in the net and assist each other. So what they really need to do is just continue to work on that here tonight.
And that's something that they will try to do here today is West Virginia, hoping to give themselves a chance to host the tournament. Sun Belt Championship starting very soon. This ball is played past the half line, then dropped back. Ball sitting in the back line of West Virginia for a while now.
Here you see earlier on, I'm seeing that West Virginia is not really trying to take the opportunities to push the ball down the field. They're kind of just trying to fill out the Georgia Southern defense.
Going to take it slow, trying to figure out how Georgia Southern is wanting to play defensively, if they're going to play aggressive, push high up on the pitch. As you see, Aaron Dink Garcia, as he passes the ball around the horn. Georgia Southern sitting back. West Virginia has kind of just sat in the back line with possession. And finally, the Eagles are able to corral it. You see, this is Yona Kafka. With it, passes it up to Samuel Odame. Odame finds a player in the middle. Ball out wide.
There's been some good ball movement here from the Eagles earlier on. Let's see how they can continue to try to capitalize on that.
Odame has it. Lost it to the West Virginia defenders. So a chance for the Mountaineers until Kafka was able to step up and get that steal.
Nice steal there from Kafka, trying to be a lead for an example here for the Eagles as they try to get this win here and try to have more potential to going into next season and furthermore.
So the ball back in that back line for the Mountaineers. The two forwards for Georgia Southern, Samuel Odame, as well as number 32, Zachary Martin, the freshman. A throw-in chance for the Mountaineers. Odame does a nice job to try and settle that, but all the way back to the keeper for West Virginia.
Although West Virginia hasn't really had that many scoring opportunities here earlier on, their defense has been pretty solid compared to whenever Georgia Southern wants to get the ball and make a play.
Chance here for the Mountaineers. It's up and just misses as an early opportunity for West Virginia to score. Goes to the right of the goal. And how about that, Cameron? You saw the Mountaineers kind of taking it slow, just passing it around amongst the defenders, but right there they go over the top behind that back line of Georgia Southern and get an early chance.
And they almost got the goal there. They just were, like you said, a tad bit off to the right. If they can continue to do that, they're in a good spot.
West Virginia hoping to replicate that much more in this game. No foul called. Ball deflected off of Ryan Baer. So Georgia Southern now trying to move up on the pitch and get a chance themselves for a cross or a shot. And a deep throw in there, headed out of the way. The ball sent all the way back to Georgia Southern's defending third, and Alex Smith, the man with the ball, one of the spark plugs for this Georgia Southern team, has had some injuries the past couple of years, but finally has been able this season to play in a good bit of games, and he's somebody that when he's healthy and he's on the field for Georgia Southern, they look completely different.
Every time he's had an opportunity to be out here, he's done great, impactful things. So having him and improving on his health in the long term will be best for the Eagles.
Somebody that they're hoping they can have to get healthy for next year. One of the most integral parts of this Georgia Southern ball club. The ball again back with the defending line of West Virginia. Odame has it, drops it back. Now Smith. Smith looking up the field, plays it out wide. That's Manuel Prieto with the ball. A foul called on Yutaro Sakuda.
Looks like Sakuda just got a little too aggressive there and may have potentially got a handball there.
Now West Virginia, Ryan Crooks laid it back. Now Ryan Baer with it. Baer plays it out wide. Sakuda has it. Being guarded by Prieto. Makes him miss. Cross into the box. Headed. No foul called. And Boring able to scoop it up. As I mentioned, in the open, Maverick Boring, one of the seniors for this Eagles team, who was recognized before the game, getting the start here today. Cameron, neither team has really found their groove yet. Neither team has had much of the possession. What can both teams do to try and make an adjustment, try and get some rhythm going?
The Mountaineers want to have their whole team come up and push and put more pressure on the Georgia Southern back line. Right now it's looking as if it's just a one long kick to the box, and then it may or may not be enough for the goalkeeper to save it or not. But it's still putting Georgia Southern in a good spot because it seems like the Mountaineers are playing more relaxed. For Georgia Southern, what they want to do is continue to use each other to get in West Virginia's penalty box to try to make a play.
So both teams trying to find some momentum, try to find some rhythm. That ball is cleared away. Martin too much on that touch. So now the Mountaineers with it. It's Adam Burkell, a shot saved by Boring. A beautiful stop by the senior. Boring's first save of the night.
What a great anticipating save there by Boring. Really a game saver and getting a goal for the Mountaineers.
And that was a good shot too, but Boring did a good job of getting his leg on that ball, making sure this West Virginia team doesn't take an early 1-0 lead. That's Frederick Jorgensen with it. He played it to Saduka. Or rather, Sukata. Crooks has it. Good defense there by Mauro Gutierrez Solis, a player that's important to this Georgia Southern team, has been quiet as of late, but having him back in the rotation, getting him involved, he's another player that you look ahead for this team. Guys like Gutierrez Solis and Alex Smith, those are the players that I think Georgia Southern believes are kind of cornerstones, guys that when they get the right pieces around them can be very impactful.
Having guys that you're familiar with that have already had a year under their belt is very crucial going into a next season when you're a young team trying to build that chemistry.
Young team might be an understatement, as this Georgia Southern Ball Club with, I believe, 21 freshmen on the roster. So the youth have been served this season, and they're getting their experience early on. And, you know, that's kind of trial by fire. You're thrown into these situations that you haven't been in as a collegiate player. Now West Virginia pushing ahead. So Georgia Southern back with possession after an offsides called.
And here you see here Georgia Southern playing excellent defense here, getting the Mountaineer player to just be a little bit too aggressive, which led to a foul.
Rather not offsides, but you saw that clip there for the foul to be called. The player that we haven't mentioned yet, Dion Dromers for West Virginia. He is a guy to look out for as one of the leading goal scorers for this team, somebody that they expect to bring in high production levels in the Sun Belt tournament.
Dion is one of many players that the Mountaineers have really relied on to get them going this season, and they're going to need him tonight.
And the West Virginia needs Jackson Lee. That's the goalkeeper with the ball right now for the Mountaineers. Jorgensen plays it back to Bjorn Thiessen, number 31. Jorgensen finds a player as the offsides is called. He was looking for Marcus Caldiera, but Caldiera, a little too high up on the pitch, was trying to sneak past Smith there, but good call by the ref.
And Caldiera is another player that the Eagles need to worry about. He's had some very crucial goals. In fact, he got one against their last game against Georgia State.
Caldiera, he's somebody that when he catches fire, he is very dangerous. As there's a lot of players on this team. When you put them together and they're all playing well, one of the toughest teams to play in the Sun Belt. So a chance for Georgia Southern here, Cameron. First corner kick of the night. First set piece as well. What can they do to try and muster something up?
Pieces like this are very important when you're already having a difficult time trying to score goals and get opportunities. So this will be a big one here.
Prieto taking it, crosses it into the box. A good step there by Martin, but Lee was there to try and get that ball out of harm's way.
The Eagles there looking like they got so far their best chance of the night, just couldn't get enough the attackers to push the issue.
That's a good sign, to be able to get a corner kick and not only get one, but get an opportunity that deep inside the box for this Georgia Southern team. That's what you want to see early on in this game. And potentially another chance here. No foul called. As Martin had it on the outside, was looking to cross that ball in. Instead, it'll be a goal kick.
Here you have seen many opportunities where there have been chances where goals may have been scored or may have had an opportunity to get a shot off, but fouls and aggressive play have prevented that.
And playing aggressive is something you can expect to see this whole night. As Georgia Southern, we mentioned it, really not playing with anything to lose. You know, a team that has yet to find their first conference win. And West Virginia, a team hoping, you know, if chips fall in the right place, to be able to host first round of the Sun Belt tournament. So on one hand, you have a team that has already birthed a spot in the tournament, hoping to get some home field advantage. And on the other hand, you have a team in Georgia Southern with freshmen, with a lot of youth, you know, that have played this season, haven't had the results that they might have wanted, but now you're at the end of it, and you kind of just leave it all out on the pitch.
Playing with nothing to lose is a great sign if you've already a team that hasn't made the tournament, because you're playing more desperate, which allows you to do more things necessary to win. And for the Mountaineers, what you just said, trying to put yourself in the best position to try to get a game on your own pitch is very important. When you look at their record, they're great at home, but not so much here away.
And that's a good point, Cameron. As you see, Lee just kicks it for the goal kick. And going back to Caldier, I was mentioning Caldier and how he's kind of caught fire, has had a lot of talent. You know, you look at some of these players on this roster for West Virginia, Ryan Crooks, Marcus Caldiera, Dion Dromers. That's one of the deadliest combos in the Sun Belt, Cameron. And, you know, for me, my favorite combo at the gas station is banging honey buns. And it's kind of like that for West Virginia, as you're seeing these players find their rhythm together and play so well.
It's always important when you can get not only a very important, as we see here that the Mountaineers almost had an opportunity here, but as you alluded to, it's very important when you can find that snack and that drink combo that just does it for you.
And it just hits the spot, Cameron.
As you see here, the Mountaineers having a good chance, but there you see Pereira heading it out, and the Mountaineers will have a corner.
And a corner kick here, hoping they can muster up the right combo. Here at the service line, cross into the box, punched out by Boring. So not able to cash in the snack that they wanted was West Virginia. And a good job by Boring to get up on that cross and punch it out of the way. You're starting to see the energy pick up in this game too, Cameron. For West Virginia, an attempt for a cross, but good step. So now a run for the Eagles. Prieto has it. He's looking for Winters. Winters makes a cut back. Foul called.
Good transition offense there by the Eagles. As you can see, it put a lot of pressure on West Virginia, which allowed them to take a foul. Here you see here just trying to be too aggressive, trying to stop them from getting in position, and you just can't get away with that.
And a good job there first by Prieto to find Winters on that run, and then Winters making that cutback move to force the foul. So another chance for a cross close to the box. Inside the box, a chance for the Eagles, and kicked out of the way. It looked for sure like if an Eagle player could get their foot on the ball, it would have been a goal. But West Virginia escapes that one, Cameron.
It was a very good cross there from the Eagles. It just seemed that an Eagle attacker just couldn't get their foot on it.
Nevertheless, the Eagles back in possession of it. Pass directly to West Virginia. But Prieto able, or rather Gutierrez Solis, they are attempting to make a play. So things are picking up here at Irk Russell Park. That was Dromers who passed it. Cross into the box. out of the way by Angel Guerrero. Back into the box. Just over the crossbar as Boring made a diving attempt to make that save. So, Cameron, you're seeing the energy now, really from both teams. The pace in which they're playing, both teams are sprinting to try and make a quick run, just unable to finish right there.
And there you see a perfect crossover there, but the header just didn't quite get on target.
And not quite on target. This Georgia Southern team hoping that they can capitalize. Early on in this half, they fought hard so far.
Right now, it seems that the Mountaineers are really finding the aggression that they need to find here to try to get a win here. They know what's at stake, and they know what they have to do.
You would expect them to try and get Dromers a little bit more involved, as he's one of the best players on this team. Tied for the lead with 4 goals on the season, along with Caldiera, as well as Ryan Crooks. No foul called there. So the ref's letting them play, too. I mean, you're seeing some aggressive defense by both teams, and that whistle hasn't been blown much.
There have been some questionable non-calls, but as you can see, boiling into the end of the season, that's just what you get.
Well, and what we're going to get right here is Zachary Martin with the ball on the wing. Found Odame inside. Odame tried to lay it back off to Martin, but instead it's Mountaineers with possession. Odame defending. Bayer with it. Finds Dromers. Dromers out wide. Good pass. Ball out of bounds. Throw in for West Virginia. Playing with some pace now.
That's going to be very important for them if they want to continue to put themselves in scoring position. They know that a tie isn't going to do them very well, as in trying to get that home pitch game, so they have to score here.
A cross in. Chance for the Mountaineers. Boring. Got it. Boring been very involved and quite contrasting his last name, as there hasn't been anything boring about his performance so far. He's been very active and very engaged. West Virginia has had the ball inside Georgia Southern's box for a majority of this half, and a beautiful move by Smith.
There have been very good crosses and passes, but as you stated, Boring has just been there to clean up everything.
Martin was making a run there. That's what Kafka was looking at. Instead, West Virginia played good defense. Bayer has it. Plays it out wide. Back to the defense. This is Thiessen now. Jorgensen back to Thiessen. So Jorgensen and Thiessen just passing it there in the back line, not rushing at all. Again, no foul called. Gutierrez Solis slipped on the ball, and now a foul will be called. So Georgia Southern finally awarded. Cameron, this West Virginia team has started to pick up the energy. They've gotten the ball in the box a lot more as we take a look at this replay.
You see here Georgia Southern just, again, doing a great job preventing them from getting into a position to make a move, and it just led them to fouling.
But going back to what I was going to say, this West Virginia team has really started to pick up the energy, and they've had the ball in Georgia Southern's half of the field for a majority of this half, but what can they do to try and finish it, to try and get a goal out of the movements they've already had?
For West Virginia, when they first get the ball, they're moving a little too passively. Yes, they may still get the ball in their box, but if you move a little quicker, you can keep them on it, keep them off edge, and they want to be expecting what you're trying to do.
Georgia Southern able to keep this at 0 apiece so far in this half. Smith grabbing the jersey, and now a foul called. You saw Smith grabbing the jersey of Dromers first. No foul was called, but then as soon as Dromers grabbed Smith's jersey, it was called.
And that type of thing right there, you really hate to see it be not called on both sides, but it's just very unfortunate there that it got called on West Virginia.
And I've said it a couple of times in this broadcast, the aggression from both teams will only pick up as this game progresses, especially with a young team in Georgia Southern who doesn't have anything to lose, has a lot of fight in them. We've seen that throughout this season for a West Virginia team that feels if they can get some home field advantage in the Sun Belt tournament to start things off, it'll help them out a lot.
And not only getting a first win in your Sun Belt Conference, doing it against a great quality opponent too would give them more of a boost.
Prieto has it. Don't know exactly what he was looking for there.
Yeah, I don't really like that attack there. I feel as if he could have tried to get more of his teammates involved. It just looked like he tried to take a shot from long distance, and it came up very short.
He had plenty of space to continue to dribble up the field. So substitution now for Georgia Southern. Be number 15, Hillary Odiambo, one of the freshmen on this roster, a young player with a lot of talent and a lot of promise to his game. So an early substitution, hoping that they can find a spark here late in this first half.
Odiambo scored a goal against their last game in Stetson, which they tied 2-2, so maybe he can do the same thing here tonight.
He's somebody, you know, along with Smith, being very young, that provides a spark to this midfield that they just don't get when they don't have him in the game. And a for sure foul there. That was Victor Kubel, who clearly clipped the attacker for West Virginia as he was making his run into the box. And this is setting up to be a good look for the Mountaineers. About 15 yards away, outside of the box.
Here you see again aggression inside the box, this time whether it is Georgia Southern taking the foul instead of West Virginia.
So hopefully, if you're a Mountaineers fan, you can capitalize on this opportunity. It's Dromers lined up on the ball as well as Jorgensen. Dromers with the shot into the back of the net for the Mountaineers. Dion Dromers finds his way to give West Virginia a 1-goal lead here with 16 to go.
What a striking shot there from Dromers. As you started to talk about him earlier as about not having his name called, I think he took that personal there, David.
I think he did too as we take another look.
Here you see here a beautiful strike getting it right in that bottom left corner.
And just a beautiful shot. Dromers, somebody we touched on as a very impactful player, a guy that is now officially leading the team in goals. He had 4 coming into this game. Now he's at 5. And what a shot. I mean, 15 yards outside of the box, able to put A lot of spin on the ball to get it in the left side of the goal.
Those type of shots, when you have defenders, are always kind of looked at as a Hail Mary shot, but beautiful, precise shot there by Drummers again, putting his team in the lead.
That's exactly what they expect from Drummers. And if you're Georgia Southern, how do you bounce back? How do you respond after West Virginia has taken this lead?
Boy, where do you start? Well, you have to have your defense be very much better than what it was. You've had great defense, but that shot there, it just really could bring your whole morale down and make you think you're not doing something right. So what they have to do is just continue to stick to their game plan and see what can happen.
A player down for West Virginia. You know, you mentioned sticking to the game plan. What exactly does that look like for this Eagles team as we take a look at the replay?
As you see this right here, again, getting an interception, but sticking that foot out right there, just going to be called every time on Georgia Southern. But to answer your question, the game plan that the Eagles have to follow is just to continue to do what they were doing and continuing to not foul. As you can see, when they fouled, they got a free kick, and that allowed them to get behind.
Cross into the box. West Virginia was looking to add to this one-goal lead. You know, you talk about fouls. West Virginia, well, now it was at 6. It's going to be at 7 now. West Virginia with 7 fouls on the half. Georgia Southern only 2. So really, when you look at it, as far as fouling goes, West Virginia has been the ones that have fouled the most. But to your point, you know, that was a very costly foul near the box that Georgia Southern had that obviously led to this goal for the Mountaineers.
And having fouls, that's never the goal in playing any game. As you see, the Eagles are trying to attack here.
It was a good pass there by Odhiambo. Odhiambo almost got the ball back. Somehow the Mountaineers retained possession.
But alluding to my last point, fouling is never the goal when you're playing any sport. But when you're the team that is down and you know that when tournament play starts, you're not going to be there, you really need to be the ones being aggressive instead of the team that is going to be there trying to find a better seeding position.
And a good move by Odame. Just looking for Odhiambo inside the box. Good layoff by Smith. Shot. Too wide. So Georgia Southern starting to try and be aggressive outside of the box and take some shots. Cameron, I think, you know, that's important for the Eagles. Try and, you know, take what they give you. Don't try to force it. But if they're giving you some space outside of the box, maybe 10 yards away, 15, take those shots.
Not getting shots are bad, but taking bad shots are worse. So as you stated, getting good shots that may be a smidge far away, long as you're not just trying to get a Hail Mary shot, you're doing a pretty good job.
You have to keep the goalkeeper Jackson Lee honest for West Virginia. So Kubel with it. Found Gutierrez Solis. Solis passes it upfield. West Virginia back with the ball. Dromers was looking to get it, but instead Smith stepped up. And a foul called again. Smith looks shaken up after that foul. And then passes it like nothing happened. So Segreiro. Georgia Southern, Cameron, you're seeing them press a lot more now, playing a lot higher up on the pitch.
You see Georgia Southern, as you stated, having more pride here. They know that they may have messed up giving up that one goal, and they don't want that to happen again, as they want to maybe put themselves in a position to tie the game.
12 minutes left in this half to do exactly that. They've already brought Odhiambo into the game as a sub. This time it's West Virginia who takes Dromers out. Dromers was the one with that goal minutes ago. They bring in number 20, Sergio Ors Navarro. So Navarro now into this game for Dromers. Georgia Southern bringing in Arvinas Valkaitis. Lee boots that one upfield. Dame has it. Rather, Odiambo. Gutierrez Solis lost possession. West Virginia lost it out of bounds.
And there would look to be good ball movement there from West Virginia. Just got put to a stop with the ball going out of bounds.
West Virginia, 5-6-4 record on the season. And don't let the record fool you. This team in West Virginia is one of the best in the Sun Belt. They've had a really tough schedule. West Virginia, actually has the 13th ranked schedule in the whole country. So, having a 13th toughest schedule in all of America, that's not easy to play with. And this West Virginia team, I would say, although their expectations were to be first in the Sun Belt, I would say that they've lived up to the expectations this season and more. Because when you play the number 2 team in the country and tie that game 3-3, I think you're doing something right.
That's exactly right. Because although you just said they had 6 losses, one of those losses, however, was in the Sun Belt. So you have 6 losses, but only one is in your own conference, which has great quality opponents, as you said, Kentucky, who is ranked number 2 in the world, Marshall, who was ranked number 4 in the world at the time. So just having games like that where you're able to stick with quality opponents says a lot about your team.
A team that is battle-tested for sure. Kubel has it. Found Kafka. Kafka back to Segreiro. Segreiro to Smith. Smith with a burst of speed. Trying to make anything happen. West Virginia able to clear it away.
There you see West Virginia just allowing Smith to try to make a play on his own, as they pretty much blocked him in so that he couldn't get no passes off, which allowed them to clear it.
And this defense for the Mountaineers has been very suffocating. It doesn't seem like Georgia Southern has had any good looks. Outside of that corner kick, everything has come very hard for this team. It doesn't seem like they've had many open opportunities, again, outside of that one corner kick.
The Mountaineers are really playing exceptional defense here. And as you stated, when they have corner kicks, Georgia Southern still isn't able to punch one in. So still, even though when they're giving up opportunities to have big moments, they're not cracking.
Odiambo lost it, but somehow Prieto got it back, but they're going to call it out of bounds. Only 8 minutes to go in this first half. Georgia Southern haven't won a game since September 13th, so a team that is struggling.
Although they may have not won a game since September, it is still very important that you try to get this win, as after this game, you only have one more game left. So ending a season that starts near September and having that be your only win would be embarrassing. So you may want to try to have a better chance at trying to get a win here today as much as you can, which is still very important for other teams.
And it is important to note, as we've mentioned throughout this broadcast, this is a young team. This is a team that's still learning, still figuring out how to play together. When you bring in so many new pieces and new players, it's going to take time.
And that's all about the growing pains. yes, you may not get the results that you want, but as long as you have guys that are committed to getting better and coming back into the future, you always will have a good opportunity.
I think they have that in a couple of players like Smith and Odiambo, even Odame. Odame only a sophomore, so they have those young pieces. Again, it's about finding ways to get them together, find that continuity to where you can grow as a team and take that next step.
There is definitely some bright spots that the Eagles have. They just want to continue to build on that, and even when freshmen come in next year, continue to bring them onto the train so that they can learn from the experience that you have had to go through this season.
A good steal there by Odiambo. Prieto making some moves. Finds Odiambo again. Cross. Good defense by West Virginia. Odame was in the box. If that West Virginia defender wasn't there, Odame would have had a clear shot at the goal.
As you just brought up Odame, like you said, he's very important into this team, and he will continue to be as long as he has a Georgia Southern uniform on.
So another cross for this Eagles team. Last time they had a corner kick, it was almost a goal, Cameron. So hopefully they can create another opportunity as this one's sent to the box and headed out. Odame trying to track it down. A nice move by West Virginia. So they have numbers now in the Mountaineers. The ball is played out wide, back into the middle. The ball goes out of bounds for a goal kick, but numbers there.
There was a beautiful start to that transition. As you see, that beautiful move there by the Mountaineer player led to a great transition opportunity, but just got a little bit too out of control with the ball going out.
You saw that counterattack. As soon as Georgia Southern lost possession, there was at least 6 Mountaineers all running the other way, trying to get some offense going.
That shows that sense of urgency that they're really trying to have here tonight, as they know that it is big implications here on the line.
Smith has it. He's going to get fouled. So, a couple of times now where you've seen Smith get knocked on the ground because of a foul.
Smith has really been taking a beating here tonight, but he's still been able to be very resilient in trying to help the Eagles do what they need to do, which is try to get in position to tie the game.
So the Eagles have possession of it. Segrero drops it back to Smith. Smith chips this one near the box. Prieto played it out wide. Odame. Rather, it was Odiambo. Odame now plays it out wide, cross. And a handball called on West Virginia. So it's going to be a penalty kick for the Eagles, a chance to tie up this game.
Here you see here the ball in play, trying to go for a bicycle kick, and he gets it to hit the Mountaineer defender's hand. Although it may look like it was impossible to make that shot, it led to a handball.
So it looks like Gutierrez Solis will be the one taking this PK. Chance for Georgia Southern. The team, as I mentioned, hasn't gotten a win since September 13th, with the chance to tie the game against West Virginia, a team that was projected to be #1 in the Sun Belt in the preseason. So what a response by the Eagles. And now seconds away for the opportunity to tie this game. Gutierrez Solis is taking this penalty kick. Makes his run up. Shot. Blocked off of the crossbar and shot back into the goal. So Gutierrez Solis couldn't get it the first time, but 2 was his number as he's able to tie up the game, Cameron.
Just like Aaliyah said, if at first you don't succeed, pick yourself up and try again. And that is exactly what he did there, as it hit the post originally, but still got it to go in, as it is a tie game now.
Great defense by Lee there. As you see the shot, it was blocked, hit off the post, and then it went right back to Gutierrez Solis, who was able to drill it into the net. So the chips fell the right way for the Eagles, and now this game is tied.
Who would have thought? With that bicycle kick there that Georgia Southern tried to take, many people may have been wondering what was that all about. But as you can see, it led to a handball, which led to Georgia Southern tying the game.
That goes to mention, you know, the chances of him actually getting a goal off of that bicycle kick were low. But when you start to try those things, when you take those little opportunities and make an effort to try and create something, better things will come of it. And because of that, trying to do that bicycle kick, it then resulted in a handball, which resulted in a penalty kick, which resulted in a goal.
You never know. That is why you always want to bring your best effort, no matter what the score is or what type of game you're playing.
And the game we're playing here is tied. West Virginia at 1, Georgia Southern at 1. And so just when it felt like West Virginia had this game in control, felt like they were in the driver's seat, Georgia Southern was able to tie it up, but another chance, shot into the back of the net, and a response is what you get from the Mountaineers. The Eagles able to tie it up not even a minute later. West Virginia able to answer back off the foot of Sergio Ors Navarro.
The goal scored by number 20, Sergio Ors.
It is very clear that the Mountaineers were not happy about that game-tying goal, and they instantly got more aggressive here as they have tied at not.
When I was starting to talk about how this game was evening up, West Virginia takes the lead again.
And here you see beautiful decisiveness as he gets corner, as opposed to last time it was in the lower right corner.
And almost a shot by the Eagles. So Dame was down.
1 minute remaining in the
So
half.
the past 2 minutes of this first half have been nothing short of crazy. Is Georgia Southern able to get a goal off a penalty kick, and then Ors Navarro taking the lead back for the Mountaineers. It's a yellow card given out. I believe that's on Ors Navarro, who was tugging the jersey of Gutierrez Solis.
Again, you saw it was a little too handsy there. I was wondering if the foul was ever going to get called, but not only that, it alluded to a yellow card.
So the aggression has been picking up. You see Gutierrez Solis is making his run, and Ors Navarro just with a clear tug of the jersey as he was trying to slow him down. That's now the 12th foul for West Virginia in this first half.
The effort for West Virginia cannot be understated. They're getting out here being aggressive, trying to attack. It's just looking like they're getting a little too chippy, and they may want to tone that down going into the second half.
Have to be able to play clean soccer. Only 10 seconds left.
9, 8,
Cross,
7, 6,
kick back
5,
out.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So that'll be all she wrote for the first half of Georgia Southern and West Virginia. West Virginia with a 2-goal-to-1 lead. Into halftime, they were able to answer back after Georgia Southern tied it up off the foot of Gutierrez Solis. Cameron, what are your thoughts after this first half?
I'm really liking what I'm seeing for the Mountaineers. Not so much earlier on when they were being a little too passive, but as they seem
This season at 0-6, 1-12-1 on the year. On the other hand, for West Virginia, 2-1-4 in the conference, 5-6-4 overall. But you see, they're just one win behind Old Dominion, Marshall, and Kentucky. All three of those teams are very talented, very skilled. So West Virginia is right there towards the top, and you look at their schedule, there's a couple of games that they could have easily won.
And it helps because against those three teams, they have really had some great outings. Old Dominion, who is just above them, they beat them 4-0 in their own backyard. And also they were able to tie Kentucky, and they lost by 1 goal to Marshall, but that's still a great showing as to how close they have been this whole season.
They fought hard every game that they've played. We're underway here in the second half. Gutierrez Solis has it. Lost possession of it, so the Mountaineers with the ball now. Cameron, how aggressive do you expect this Georgia Southern team to play in this last 44 minutes?
I want this team to play very aggressive. You may want to be more aggressive and have more fouls than you may have had. It's sad to say that you want to have that. That's bad sportsmanship, obviously, but you want to impose your will and do better.
And I think that, when you look at something like fouls, obviously the intent is not to actually foul, but when you see higher foul numbers, it is usually a direct correlation of how aggressive your team is playing, and you're seeing that from West Virginia. 12 fouls all in the first half. They brought that aggression. You would expect it to be Georgia Southern, a team that's young and doesn't have anything to lose, but it's been West Virginia. They've been the ones out of the gate showing their force, playing aggressive, and they've been playing like they don't have anything to lose.
West Virginia may have something that they have to lose, but as you just alluded, they're playing like they don't, which you would expect Georgia Southern to play as if, but West Virginia knows what they have to do here, as I've said many times throughout this broadcast, and they know that winning here tonight will put them in the best position to not only host a game, but try to win the whole entire tournament.
Smith, a one-man show right now, crosses it in, kicked out of harm's way. West Virginia able to retain possession. Rather, it goes back to Georgia Southern. Kafka with it. Crossed into the box, scooped up by Lee. Ball sent back to the half line. Kubel played it to Segreiro. Segreiro drops it back. Now Kafka. Now Segreiro. West Virginia, you're seeing at least 4 players all circle around the ball anytime an Eagle has it.
And that's what put West Virginia in the best position that they were in the first half. They were able to suffocate the Eagles, and it led them to not getting many opportunities.
Mountaineers looking for an opportunity here. As Boring is able to get it. Maverick Boring, one of the seniors on this team. Ball played upfield, headed back the other direction. Foul called on Georgia Southern, their 3rd foul of this game. Rather, their 5th foul of this game. You can make that 6. Georgia Southern fouls again. Cameron, 5 minutes into this second half, what can Georgia Southern do? You're still only down by 1 goal as we see the foul there by Prieto. What can this Eagles team do? I mean, only down a goal. You still have a chance to tie this game, even take the lead. How do they do that?
Here you see in the last couple of minutes those fouls and aggression has been picking up for Georgia Southern, but what they want to do,
cross into the box, just over the crossbar.
What they want to do is continue to have that to lead to their offense as well, and not just be getting fouls, giving up more opportunities to the Mountaineers.
Have to be able to press high on the pitch, especially when you're down a goal in the second half. It's part of the aggression and part of the game plan. You would have to assume, if you're Coach John Murphy, And that pass able to get to Smith, but Smith loses it. So now West Virginia loses it. So kind of pinball, back and forth. Neither team able to find a rhythm early on. Odiambo trying to find some space. Foul called on Georgia Southern. Thiessen taking the free kick. And a clear foul there by Odiambo. Cameron, we talked about playing aggressive, but these fouls that we're seeing from Georgia Southern aren't the kind of fouls you want.
As I alluded to earlier to the start of this second half, I did say having more aggression, which could lead to you having more fouls, but fouling too much is also a thing too. If that fouling is not giving your team any extra motivation and advantage to try to get yourself in the opposite direction to score you a goal, then you shouldn't be fouling as much.
And the goal is never to foul, but if you're going to play aggressive, can't afford to have those players clipped. As this ball was crossed into the box, shot, blocked by Segrero. Georgia Southern looking to make a run off of it. Odiambo has it. Just looking inside for Valkaitis. Instead, Sukata lays it off. That's Alex Clayton with the ball.
And there you saw the Mountaineers doing a very great job of stopping that transition offense that Georgia Southern was trying to get going there after a good defensive play.
Numbers for the Mountaineers. Good tackle by Kafka, or rather Kubel, to save that run from West Virginia. Gutierrez Solis tries to settle it. Kafka has it. Dribbles right into Ollie Kahn and Thiessen.
You're seeing a little bit more of what West Virginia was doing in the beginning of the first half with playing keep away there from Georgia Southern and being a little more passive than usual and then trying to precisely make their attack.
And a foul called on West Virginia. It was Kubel who was trying to settle the ball, and Burkell came in and sweep Kubel's legs from under him. Prieto plays it upfield to Odiambo. Odiambo loses it. West Virginia ball. Cameron, I asked this earlier, but if you're Georgia Southern, not only trying to make the right adjustments, but just in general, a long, hard-fought season where the results didn't go your way, a lot of things that probably frustrate the locker room and the players. How do you leave all of that on the pitch in the last 36 minutes and change?
Talking to Coach Murphy, he really described that it was 5 or 6 games that he felt like they didn't get the results that they wanted and it could have happened differently. But as he alluded to, as you can see, the Georgia Southern Eagles trying to get into a golden opportunity here but just stop. You see here from Coach Murphy, he really was stating that you don't want to cry over spoiled milk. So although you may not get the goals that you want to have, and the things that you want to have to succeed, you still have opportunities to have a good game here tonight for the rest of the half and just really look forward to the future.
Oh, and if you're anything like me, you don't have to worry about spoiled milk because I'm lactose intolerant, but Gutierrez Solis with it. And, you know, that's a good point, Cameron, because there has been some games that could have gone either way. You know, and obviously they went in the losing direction, but some close games that were fought hard by Georgia Southern. And, you know, maybe one goal, and you have a completely different outlook on this season.
That's exactly right. Georgia Southern have not had many games where they just were completely out of games. They are really competitive until it just seems as if they give up a lot. As you can see with Old Dominion, they gave up some goals and led to being down 4-0 at half, but they had a quick turnaround in that second half and were able to get 2 goals to bounce back. So maybe if they didn't give up those 2 goals in the beginning, it may have been a different outcome, like you said.
And it's the little things in life, Cameron. It's the things that seem mundane.
The little moments always matter no matter what it is, and especially here in sports.
Georgia Southern.
Very much liking what I'm seeing here from Georgia Southern. They're trying to really make it happen here, but it just seems as if the Mountaineers are shutting it down.
And
every
a chance
time.
here. Shot just wide of the post, as you were mentioning, Cameron. A golden opportunity for West Virginia. We take another look.
He's had a breakaway opportunity, but just getting it a tad off to the left, and it's just going out of play as Georgia Southern here will get a goal kick.
West Virginia not slowing down at all. You know, and I think that's another big question is, if you're West Virginia, how much of this second half do you play aggressive and try to add to this lead, and how much of it is player management, understanding, hey, we have the postseason. Right after this, we want to make sure our team is healthy. How do you find that balance?
It's definitely a challenge with trying to make sure that you're not putting your players in a dangerous position, but yet you know what you want. As you can see, Odiombo trying to make something happen, but you know exactly what you want if you're the Mountaineers, and to accomplish that, you have to continue to go full throttle.
Not giving up. Staying 100%. It's a good ball played into the box. Chipped over. Crossed. Caught by Lee. Saw a Georgia Southern player run into the box. Try to make an attempt to play that. But this defense for West Virginia, outside of the handball that led to a penalty kick, they've been very stout in limiting the amount of opportunities that Georgia Southern has had throughout this game.
It's safe to say that the Mountaineers have not given up. They haven't gave up opportunities on their own half because of Georgia Southern not being able to get in their opportunity in their box. It's just that they have given them those opportunities with having a handball and just putting them in a bad spot, but they quickly got out of it with taking the lead.
Foul call on Smith. You saw Burkell spin into Smith. Instead, Smith gets a yellow card. Not happy about it. Very surprised, to be honest. Burkell on the ground, but clearly Burkell was the one that initiated that contact, and it really didn't even look like Smith was in the way. It was more of he was trying to defend.
And there you see he was just trying to do a little too much, but the ref didn't see it that way, and he ended up giving the foul to Smith.
And, you know, I'm not one to critique the referees by any means, but it does look like at least on that replay, you saw Burkell not even with the ball near his feet. He just backed into Smith, who Smith was just trying to make a play on the ball and play defense. So an interesting yellow card. I didn't even think it was a foul on Smith. Nonetheless, a yellow card. So Georgia Southern trying to rebound. A good move by Gutierrez Solis. Segreiro has it. Plays it out wide. Now plays it the other direction. You can hear the Eagles not happy with the call.
It's nice to see that the Eagles are still very much taking this game very seriously. When it is times where you feel like there are calls that are not going your way that should, it definitely can be frustrating.
Especially after one of your best players gets a yellow card. Kubel awaiting the free kick. Both teams tied at 7 when it comes to shots. 2 shots on goal for West Virginia, both ending up in goals, and then 3 shots on goal for Georgia Southern. Segreiro passes that one all the way back to Boring. It was almost stolen. So the Mountaineers have plenty of space to work with. It's Crooks with it. He plays it to the middle. A pass, shot, in for West Virginia. Not 1, not 2, but 3 goals in this game. Off the foot of number 24, Adam Burkell.
Goal by West Virginia. Scored by number 24, Adam.
This is exactly what you need here. You see Burkell getting right in that open soft spot and just punching it in right there. Not too much effort needed as the Mountaineers take a 3-1 lead.
Burkell was wide open in the box, right in between 2 defenders, nobody guarding him. A good pass by Crooks to find him. And Burkell just buries it in the back of the goal. Cameron, if you're Georgia Southern, you know, it's one thing to try and bounce back from just a 1-goal deficit, but now you're down 2 goals. What is the message? What is the attitude moving forward?
You want to continue to have the same game plan as if you were down just 1 goal. Now that you're down 2, it may be a little bit more difficult, but you still have to give your best effort here in these last 30 minutes.
And if you're West Virginia, do you expect them to slow things down or continue to try and add to this lead?
West Virginia has already done a great job defensively with keeping Georgia Southern at bay as they have only allowed 1 goal. But as a competitor, you still want to continue to put up as many points as you can.
West Virginia still competing. Another great chance here. The ball just outside the box, crossed. Nobody there in the back post. Georgia Southern clears it out. But a dangerous pass. Georgia Southern lucky that nobody was in the back post for West Virginia. Now Alex Clayton tried to make a run to get that ball. But you're still seeing the Mountaineers play as hard as they can.
Very important considering that the conference tournament starts in less than a week. So being able to still show that competitive spirit, even though you're in control of the game, will really help you going into the tournament.
Clayton lays it off. Now he's back with it. A little give and go. Played into the middle. Good defense. Clayton made a run towards the goal. It was sniffed out, and so now see Odame, very expressive. And I think he's trying to say that he was grabbed by a West Virginia player. So you're seeing some animation by these Georgia Southern players after a couple of questionable calls, first with the yellow card to Smith, and now a couple of calls to follow. Some very unhappy players.
The frustration that you're seeing from Georgia Southern really just shows that they care. No matter what the score is or what the deficit is looking like, they want to continue to still be able to show that they belong here in the Sun Belt Conference. Although they're looking for their first conference points, it's still very important to try to take every game serious no matter what your record is.
Georgia Southern has fought hard in this game. There were moments where it felt like they had the momentum, but West Virginia has responded right when they needed to every time. This ball is advanced up the field. Aaron Dink Garcia, the only one back there for the Mountaineers. So assuming that West Virginia gets the win here today, they still have a fighting chance to host in the Sun Belt Tournament. This ball is advanced up, headed out of bounds by Georgia Southern.
Getting the opportunity to host a game in any tournament is already a good motivation for when you go into that game. So I can see why the Mountaineers are really trying to put themselves in a position to do so.
Well, here's a chance, a shot into the goal for West Virginia, but they're going to wave it back and call offside. So it looked like that was the fourth goal for the Mountaineers, but instead Georgia Southern gets lucky with an offsides call.
Not only was there an offsides call, it looked like it could have been a potential foul just seconds right before the shot. So again, a bullet dodged there by Georgia Southern.
West Virginia not showing any signs of stopping, and that, you're right, it was a foul called, not an offsides, but it was that push on the back of the Georgia Southern defender that got the goal waved off.
That little push there from the Mountaineer attacker just was a little bit too evident for the ref to say, you know what, I think that's a foul.
Gutierrez Solis trying to get possession of the ball. Sliding tackle by Smith. And then Smith gets laid out by a West Virginia player. We'll see if a card is given.
You see here Smith just trying to clear it out, and he gets bulldozed by the Mountaineer defender.
And that was Otto Olikainen, who came in to try and defend that pass. But clearly the ball was already off the foot of Smith, and Olikainen just came in and made a football move on him. So very chippy. The ball was in the box, a shot. Expected a cross there, but a very aggressive shot by Georgia Southern with way too much power.
I think it's safe to say that that may have just been a frustration shot, especially with Odame taking it. As you have seen in this second half, he has been very unhappy with calls and lack thereof.
Well, and that's another dimension. When you talk about a young team, you have to add in the factor of getting frustrated when calls don't go your way. And a chance for the Mountaineers as Kubal's defending. It was Burkell again. Burkell was inside the box. Kubal recovered very well. But going back to my point, Cameron, having a young team, adding that dimension of how do you handle yourself when things, A, don't go your way, or B, when calls don't go your way, that's a whole nother level of growth that you have to find as a team and as an individual when you're a freshman.
That's exactly right. Anytime that you're playing a sport and you're young in that sport, you're used to your old ways, especially in collegiate soccer. You're used to your old ways in high school where you felt as if like you were entitled to almost any call, but even though you may get fouled, you just have to learn with time you're not going to get every call that you think you should get.
And some calls that Could have definitely gone the other way here in this game. This West Virginia team with 15 fouls in total here today. So clearly been aggressive and chippy at times. Georgia Southern with 10 fouls. So playing aggressive in their own right. Ball out wide, moving central. Pass inside the box, laid off for Kell. Lost it. Now Odiambo rather. Odame now has it. Makes a move. Kell's guarding. Alcides. Kubel played it to Kafka. Too much on that pass. Kubel gets it right back.
There you seen just one simple mistake there from the Eagles. Disrupted all of the momentum that they had on that opposing attack.
Starting to move things. They were getting upfield and moving the ball very well, but kind of lost control of it. They still have the ball near the corner flag. It's going to be a throw-in.
And there's still time here. You have 22 minutes left. You may not be able to get 3 goals to try to get the win, but you definitely can try to squeeze in 2 goals here to try to get a tie.
And it's going to be a corner kick for Thomas Jackson. But a player down for Georgia Southern. You see him stretching the leg out. It's Manuel Prieto, number 19 for the Eagles. Prieto has been somebody who's been one of their leading goal scorers. Somebody that they really trust a lot on the offensive side to come in and give them a spark. Play resumes.
Pareto has been very reliable for the Eagles all season long, so seeing him get back out there is a welcoming sight.
Clayton has it, crossed into the box. And West Virginia almost able to get to that pass. Boring had his hand stretched out wide to try and save it. It was a good effort. A couple of opportunities now that West Virginia could have had even more goals scored. Could have made this a 4 or 5 goal difference.
Number 21, Jonah Kafka.
Jonah Kafka back into this game. So, some substitutions being made as time is ticking down on the clock. Chance for both teams to get a little breather.
On the field for the Eagles, number 12, Austin Hardy.
Austin Hardy, number 12, stepping into the ball game for Georgia Southern. Starting to clear out the benches, Cameron. Jack Ireland into this game for Georgia Southern as well. I mentioned Thomas Jackson. Luke McCormick in for West Virginia. Joseph Biafora. Ike Swiger.
Times like this is very important for both teams. If you look at the Mountaineers, they want to be able to know that each player is very much needed in the rotation as they head into the tournament play. And for the Eagles, they want to be able to find new people that can have them be a spark to the next season.
No foul called on Kubel. Kubel clearly grabbed the West Virginia player to slow him down, but nothing slowing Clayton down. She's able to get that cross off, but it looks like it hit Valkaitis. So a corner kick for West Virginia, and that's a good point, Cameron. You know, for West Virginia, when you're going into the Sun Belt tournament, you need as much depth as you can get. So you want to be able to rely on your players on the bench that you can call up if somebody gets hurt or somebody needs a breather. Because when you go in and you face, teams like Kentucky, you're going to have to use, probably 16, 17 of your players throughout that game.
Especially since you played them not too long ago towards the end of the season. So having a different variety of rotations that you can throw at a team to throw them off is always going to be helpful.
So across into the box. Nobody able to get their foot on it. Georgia Southern clears it out. Seeing everybody push up on the pitch. Back with the Mountaineers for a throw-in. Something that we haven't talked about is the coaching staff for the Mountaineers. You have head coach Dan Stratford, but you also have associate head coach Andy Wright and assistant coach Nick Noble. And they have a very unique connection, Cameron, with the West Virginia men's soccer program. All three of them, they played together at West Virginia. Noble started in goal for the Mountaineers from 2003 to 2006. Stratford and Wright were also in the lineup. They played from 2004 to 2007. And all three of them went on to play professionally. So something that we haven't highlighted is this coaching staff that's very familiar with the culture of this West Virginia soccer program, very familiar with what it takes to go to the next level.
That can also have a big impact on the culture that they bring when it comes to coaching. As a player, knowing that your coaching staff are alumni and have played the sport, it helps you respect them more and go out and compromise what they're trying to say to you as they are having a good season.
Especially when those three play together. So you have that connection as a coaching staff where you're familiar with each other, not only as coaches, but a step further. When you were players, when you actually had to play on the field, and it's almost like going to war. Like, those are your brothers out there on the pitch where, when you're in practice, you get to know them very well. So I think it's really cool and a testament to this program when you have three coaches that have all played together and have that continuity. As you see a player down for West Virginia. Be number 17, Utaro Sukata.
On the field for West Virginia, number 20, Sergio Ores Navarro.
Sukata still down, being looked at by the trainer. Gets helped up. Sukata, a player for this team that you want, and not only want, but need when you're moving forward in the Sun Belt tournament.
It's going to be very alarming for West Virginia to want to monitor this situation, as he is a very important player to this team.
The ball played out wide. That was Kafka with the foul. Sergio Ores Navarro scored one of the goals for this Mountaineers team.
And here you see Kafka trying to get a slide tackle, but it just was a little too much, and it led to the referee drawing the whistle.
So a chance for a cross. It's into the box. Kicked around. Somebody's trying to get it. Saved by Smith. That ball was going to be scored by West Virginia, but Smith was there to clear it out.
Great job there by Alex Smith being in the right place at the right time.
Good job by Smith indeed, because that was a for sure goal. if it wasn't stopped by Smith. It's Jackson with it. He drops it. Kafka. Kafka plays it back to Kubel. Ball going back and forth, and very aggressive slide by Kubel. A yellow card given out. That's Ryan Bear, who's down.
There you see the Georgia Southern attacker maybe not intentionally trying to take out Bear there, but it still resulted into a bad play there, and Bear is still down.
He was making a play on the ball. He was trying to save it, but slid right into it. Looked like the shin of Ryan Bear. If you're West Virginia, between Sukata and Bear, you have to hope that they're both going to be okay for the Sun Belt tournament.
Although you want to continue to be competitive and continue to try to push your lead, it may be time for you to consider taking some of your starters out, as not one but two of your starters have now been going down.
And I think, that's just a sign of you have to get your best players out of the game, especially when you already have a two-goal lead. You have to play it safe. So we resume play with 16 minutes to go. West Virginia passed out wide now, crossed. Georgia Southern recovers. Foul called. Good defense by the Eagles. It was Chase Winters, the other senior. Mentioned Maverick Boring.
There you see another collision there with a Mountaineer defender and a Georgia Southern attacker, just again being too aggressive here.
Gutierrez Solis was going to throw that in. Going to let Kafka. Cameron, his time is ticking down. Closer and closer to 0. What are your thoughts on the way that West Virginia has played in this game and also this entire season, looking ahead to the Sun Belt tournament?
West Virginia has always been in almost every game that they have played, unless they have played a quality opponent. But even so, with playing quality opponents, they have still been able to do very good jobs. And tonight, West Virginia has been very dominant here, and having a 3-1 lead. Yes, they may have had a miscue with the handball that led to the Georgia Southern goal, but overall they've looked pretty solid going into conference play.
Played a fairly consistent game. Been very aggressive throughout the first half as well as the second half. Georgia Southern still trying to fight to get a goal back. Georgia Southern. Kafka has it. This is Jackson.
The Mountaineers here really seem to be milking the clock here, keeping away from Georgia Southern.
Just trying to play it slow. After you saw Sukata crossed into the box, a chance. Boring did a good job to scoop that one up. Georgia Southern hoping to respond. Too much on it. You see the frustration afterwards. This Georgia Southern team has fought hard. Only down 2 goals with opportunities throughout.
Georgia Southern has done a very good job showing effort here in the last closing minute, but the Mountaineers just have continued to be very dominant.
And that's been something this whole season, although the record has them a little bit under 500.
As you were alluding to, although that Georgia Southern may be below 500, there's still a chance that you can learn a lesson from this season moving forward.
And being young, that's part of it. That's part of the process to grow and become leaders. Not just players, but leaders. That's a big thing when you're young, is Coach Murphy is looking for guys that will step up next season and start to become vocal leaders both on and off the pitch to help their team perform and grow. And a chance here for the Mountaineers. Tried to cross that one back in, deflected off of Hardy.
For Coach Murphy, that's really all you want. You want players to come in and buy into your culture, and going through this journey will potentially lead to those.
Another sub into this game. It's Hillary Odiambo who steps back in. Looks like Jackson will step off. Crossed into the box, headed out of the way by Ireland. A shot just over. A lot of power on that one. Boring stood there and watched it sail right over the crossbar. Cameron, officially under 10 minutes to go. How does Georgia Southern, if not come back in this game, at least find some momentum, at least in this season on the right foot?
A way that they can do that is to ensure that the Mountaineers don't have as much possession as they have been having the whole entire game. These last 9 minutes will be a very good statement in showing into which players that Murphy can trust in going into next season.
A lot of young players, as we've mentioned, throughout this game. Odame, one of the leaders on this team, only a sophomore. Smith has a couple of years left as well. Is West Virginia making a move? No foul gonna be called. You can hear the sidelines. They felt that should have been called. Kafka with it as he swings this one over to Hardy.
Here you see Georgia Southern doing a very good job of making sure that West Virginia doesn't get any more opportunities in these last 8 minutes to push the lead even more.
Odiambo has it. Finds Hardy. Good job by West Virginia to continue to play stout defense. It's a clear foul called on Jack Ireland.
If I'm the Mountaineers here, I'm just going to continue to try to milk this clock and try to get out of Dodge here, knowing that this is your last regular season game.
And it feels like that's kind of what they've done. They've brought out a couple of players to make sure that they don't get hurt. You know, you saw Sukata go down. You kind of hold your breath, as well as Bear. You know, two very important players to this team. So really at this point, it's just about managing the game and keeping things clean, avoiding anybody else getting hurt. But for Georgia Southern, I mean, you want to end this season knowing that you at least gave it your all, playing a tough West Virginia team, and also knowing that you were tied at one point in this game. And I think it's safe to say that for the most part, Cameron, you know, you look at that first half, you erased that goal that happened to make West Virginia up 2-1. This Eagles team hasn't played bad. I would say that they played good soccer.
That has to be a bright spot going into the off season. Not only this game, there have been many other games where you have been close with certain teams, especially against that game that they had against their in-state rival with Georgia State. It was very competitive there until towards the end, as much as it has been with pretty much all of their games. So all they have to do is to make sure that coming into next season, they have a better approach until when these deficits happen to them.
A lot of adjustments you can assume Georgia Southern will make next season. Won 12-1 on the year. Kafka plays it to Segreiro. Segreiro finds Smith. Smith to Hardy. Hardy loses it. You can tell the energy has really been taken out of this Georgia Southern team at this point in the game. After that third goal, it kind of felt like, I don't want to say that the Eagles gave up, because I don't think they've given up, but you could definitely see a mental switch and the energy and the pace in which they played at.
It's been very similar throughout all the games this season. Once the Eagles are playing aggressive, they're trying their best, giving their best effort, but still find a way to get down by multiple goals, they seem to be very depleted. And although that is a good reason as to why it can bring your morale down, you cannot let that affect you as you want to continue to try to win the game.
That's something that Coach Stratford actually talked to us about. You know, when scouting this Georgia Southern team, a lot of the games that they've played really well. But it was after they let that one goal get behind them. It was after they allowed the other team to score that goal to get out in front. That's when you saw them kind of take a step back, and they would slowly deteriorate from there. And honestly, I think that's just part of growing. I think that with a young team, that's just a natural thing. And I expect this team next season, because of the way they played early in games, if you can turn around some of those mishaps in the second half, I think you'll see a completely different Georgia Southern soccer team.
Definitely, because you never want to give an opposing coach an indicator on when you may have given up. That's not a good sign that you want to have moving forward. So if they can continue to clean up on those type of mistakes, build more chemistry with each other, who knows how far they can go.
And that's the message I would assume from Coach John Murphy, you know, looking into next season, finding the positives, finding the things that they did well, and also looking at the things that they can grow in and correct is going to be the message to this team as they work in the offseason and get ready for next year. Cross goes out of bounds. A goal kick for Georgia Southern.
Coming up for the Eagles, number 20, Miguel Perez.
West Virginia with the ball in their defending half. Now Georgia Southern gets possession. Adame trying to find somebody.
You see Adame trying to be real decisive on what he wants to do, but the Mountaineers are still been able to apply that pressure here with only 2 minutes left.
And that's part of the reason you're seeing such a solid team in the Mountaineers is even when you're up 2 goals and you only have 2 minutes left, the aggression never changes. The purpose and the plan of attack doesn't change. You don't see a drop-off from your substitutions. You don't see a drop-off in the level of play. If anything, I would say you see a rise in the aggression and the energy that they bring.
That intensity is what gets you into the position that the Mountaineers are in. And they are going to need every ounce of that going into the tournament.
Going into the tournament, West Virginia, again, as I've mentioned, has a chance to be able to host in the first round and play at home if things fall in the right direction. But Coach Stratford talked to us, and he said they just have to control them. You know, they know that if they win this game, they have a chance, but that's all that they can control is what they do with this game. And the rest, let it lie where it lies.
It's very important that you come in and take care of your own business. Yes, you may want help as to what you want to have determining and seeding, but as long as you give your best effort and able to take care of your business, what you have done here tonight, that's a great sign either way.
And a beautiful punch out by Boring. As you see the vertical, able to get that one out of harm's way for Georgia Southern. West Virginia almost adding to this 3-1 lead. Adame is trying to find a player in the box. This is really the last chance for Georgia Southern this season.
8, 7,
as the clock starts to tick to 0.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And that's going to be it. A 3-1 victory for West Virginia over the Georgia Southern Eagles, ending the regular